Alex's boots crunched softly on the strange, red soil of the planet. The colony ship, Odyssey, had landed only a few hours ago, and the horizon was a mix of jagged mountains and swirling orange dust. The air smelled faintly metallic, and every shadow seemed alive. Most humans in the colony were nervous, whispering to each other about the legends of this planet. They said it was home to a dangerous alien species, a species humans called the vampires of Solaris. Alex, however, felt something different. His heart was steady. He had faced dangers before: storms on distant planets, hostile wildlife, and malfunctioning starships, but this felt alive, exciting. He could feel the energy of the planet, almost as if it was watching him. The other colonists were not so calm. "Stay close," whispered Mara, a fellow explorer, her eyes wide. "We've heard the stories. The vampire aliens are fast, strong, and they kill humans for sport." Alex smiled faintly. "Stories are just stories. Fear is human, Mara, but it doesn't have to control us." She shook her head nervously. "You don't understand. No human has ever survived an encounter with them." Alex only shrugged. He had always believed that humans had a unique courage, an ability to stand up, even when everything inside screamed to run. And today, he would test that belief. The group moved carefully toward a canyon that the sensors had marked as unexplored. The rocks here glimmered faintly in the dim light of Solaris's twin suns, and the wind made eerie, whispering sounds. The colonists flinched at every movement, every distant sound. Alex, however, walked with steady steps, his eyes scanning every shadow. Then he saw her. She emerged from the shadows as if she had appeared from thin air. Lyra. She was tall, elegant, and terrifyingly beautiful. Her skin was pale with a faint blue shimmer. Her eyes glowed red in the fading light, and long hair, dark as the void, framed her sharp, delicate features. But it was her presence that stunned everyone. Every human stopped moving, frozen in fear. Lyra's lips curved slightly, not into a smile but something closer to amusement. Her gaze swept over the group, and she focused on Alex. Everyone expected him to freeze, to scream, or to run. But Alex only smiled. The silence stretched for a moment so long it felt like time itself had stopped. Then Lyra tilted her head. Her red eyes narrowed. No human had ever looked at her without fear. "You are not afraid," she said softly, her voice like liquid silk. "I'm human," Alex said calmly. "We don't always run from things we don't understand." Lyra's eyes flashed, as if she was trying to read him. There was a curiosity there, a spark that had not existed in centuries of her life. Humans usually screamed, ran, or attacked, but this one, he was different. The rest of the colonists backed away slowly, whispering to each other. Some shook their heads. "He's crazy," one muttered. Another said, "He'll die if he stays." But Alex stayed where he was, his calm smile never fading. Lyra stepped closer. The wind shifted. Her presence was overpowering, and Alex could feel the faint chill of her aura. His pulse quickened, but his courage did not falter. "Why do you smile?" Lyra asked, her voice a mixture of curiosity and suspicion. "All others fear me. All others scream." Alex met her gaze directly. "Because I am not afraid. Fear does not control me. I can see what others cannot. You are not just a predator. You are more. You have your own story, your own strength. That deserves respect, not fear." Lyra's eyes widened slightly. No human had ever spoken to her like this. She had been feared for centuries, a name whispered in horror across many planets. Yet here stood one who smiled at her instead of fleeing. "You are bold," she said finally, almost as a question. "And humans have courage," Alex replied. "Even in the face of the unknown. We try to understand, not just react." For a moment, Lyra said nothing. The wind howled, swirling red dust around them. Then she did something unexpected. She nodded. Just slightly. But it was enough to show a recognition of his courage. Suddenly, a sharp noise echoed from the canyon behind them. A small predator, native to Silaris, jumped out with glowing fangs. The colonists screamed and scattered. Alex stood his ground, moving slowly toward the creature. Lyra's eyes widened again. Humans usually ran, but he moved toward danger. In one fluid motion, she darted forward, faster than any human could see, and knocked the predator away from Alex without harming it. The creature ran off into the shadows, and Lyra turned her glowing eyes to him once more. You are not like the others," she said, her voice softer this time. Alex smiled again. "And neither are you. You don't have to only be a predator. You can be something more." Lyra tilted her head, studying him. This human had a strange power. She realized not the kind of power she had with her fangs or speed, but something she could not touch. Courage, calmness, the ability to face fear without surrendering. The colonists slowly gathered around Alex, whispering and staring at Lyra in awe and terror. She ignored them. Her attention focused entirely on him. "You have no fear of me," she said finally. "Why?" Alex thought for a moment. "Because I have seen fear before. I have faced it many times, and I know that the only way to move forward is not to hide from what scares you, but to face it, and sometimes even smile at it." Lyra blinked. A flicker of something curiosity, maybe amusement, crossed her face. She had not felt like this in centuries. Most humans only screamed, begged, or died. None had dared speak to her with such honesty. "Interesting," she whispered. Then, as if testing him, she took a step closer, her movement almost predatory. "And if I wanted to end you?" Alex didn't flinch. "Then you would have tried already." Lyra paused. For the first time in her life, she felt uncertainty. Humans were unpredictable, and Alex, he was something she could not calculate. "I will watch you," she said finally. "And you, watch yourself." With that, she vanished into the shadows as silently as she had appeared. The colonists let out a collective breath, relief and fear mingling in their expressions. Alex, however, only smiled. Mara approached him cautiously. "Do you know what you're doing?" She's not like anything we've faced before." "I know exactly what I'm doing," Alex said calmly. "I'm showing her that humans are not weak. That courage exists even when others tremble." The rest of the day passed with tension. Every shadow was suspicious, every sound a warning. Yet Alex moved through the colony with his usual calm, observing, learning, and smiling at the unknown. That night, as he lay under the red sky, he thought about Lyra. She was dangerous, yes, but also fascinating. Not because of her fangs or strength, but because she had power over fear. And for the first time, he wondered if it was possible to change her, to show her that humans were not to be feared, but respected. And somewhere, in the dark canyons, Lyra watched him back, silently surprised by the courage of a human who smiled at fear itself. The bond had not yet formed, but the spark had been ignited. And both human and alien would soon discover that fear and courage are more powerful than fangs or strength. The night on Solaris was darker than any night Alex had ever experienced. The twin moons barely lit the jagged mountains, and the wind whispered through the canyons like a secret language. Most humans in the colony had long since retreated to their shelters, trembling at the unfamiliar sounds, the shifting shadows, and the thought of the vampire aliens that prowled this land. Alex, however, did not return. Instead, he walked carefully along the edge of the canyon, his boots pressing softly against the red soil. His mind was alive with curiosity and a quiet determination. Lyra had disappeared after their first encounter, but he could feel her presence somewhere close, as if the shadows themselves were alive. He stopped near a rocky outcrop and waited, letting the silence surround him. Then, almost without warning, a shadow moved faster than the human eye could follow. Lyra had appeared. Her eyes glowed like twin embers in the dark, and her movements were fluid and graceful, yet filled with the raw power of a predator. "You do not run," she whispered, her voice carrying over the wind. "Even now, when you should be afraid." Alex tilted his head slightly and smiled. "I face what comes, Lyra. Fear is natural, but it does not control me." She studied him, circling like a hunter observing its prey. But instead of fear, Alex felt curiosity. He wanted to understand her, and he wanted her to understand humans. "I will test you," she said finally. "If you are as brave as you claim, you will not falter." Alex nodded calmly. "I am ready." The first test came quickly. A rock shifted above him, and in a blur of movement, Lyra dropped from a ledge, landing silently behind him. Her hand shot toward his shoulder, intending to push him to the ground. Alex did not flinch. Instead, he caught himself, balancing perfectly, and looked at her with calm eyes. "Interesting," she murmured. Her red eyes sparkled with surprise. Humans usually screamed or ran. He had neither. She vanished again into the shadows, and Alex heard the faintest rustle behind him. Then the ground shook slightly, as if something massive was moving. From the darkness, several Scilaris predators emerged. Their teeth were long, their claws sharp, and their eyes glowed faintly. The colonists had warned him about them. They were dangerous, deadly, and fast. Alex did not run. Instead, he stepped forward, observing the creatures, noticing their patterns, their behavior. Lyra watched silently from above, her curiosity growing. One predator lunged. Alex rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding the attack. Then he grabbed a rock and threw it toward the creature. Not to harm it, but to distract it. The predator hesitated, giving Alex just enough time to climb a nearby boulder and place himself in a safer position. Lyra descended silently, landing behind him. "You are different," she said. "No human has ever faced them and survived." "I am not just any human," Alex replied calmly. "Humans survive because we do not only rely on strength. We use our minds, our instincts, and yes, sometimes our courage." Lyra's eyes narrowed. This was not the fear she expected. It was not panic. It was control. Humans usually fled in terror. Alex moved with purpose. For the next hour, she continued her tests. She appeared suddenly, close enough to touch. Yet Alex never moved back. She whispered threats, tried to intimidate him with her speed and strength, and even attempted to startle him with her predatory presence. Each time, Alex reacted calmly. Sometimes he smiled. Sometimes he spoke softly, explaining why fear was natural, but unnecessary. The other colonists, watching from a distance, could not believe it. Some whispered to each other, "He's brave," or "foolish." But even in their fear, they began to notice something strange. Lyra's attacks were no longer frightening. Instead, they were almost respectful. By the time the first light of the twin moons faded, Lyra stopped her tests. She floated silently, her glowing eyes fixed on Alex. For the first time in centuries, she felt a mix of emotions she could not name. Humans were weak, she had always thought. Their fear was delicious to watch, their terror easy to control. But this one, he did not fear her. He smiled at her. He spoke calmly to her. And he survived. You are unusual, she said finally, her voice softer now. Even bold. Why do you not fear me? Alex looked at her steadily. Because I understand that fear is a choice. I can let it control me, or I can face it, and I choose to face it. You are powerful, yes, but power alone does not define life. Courage does. Lyra tilted her head, trying to process his words. Humans rarely spoke like this. Most screamed, begged, or died. None had dared to challenge her understanding of fear and power. Do you not know I could kill you? She asked, her voice almost a whisper. I know, Alex said calmly, but I also know that killing me does not prove anything. Courage, respect, understanding, these are stronger than fear or force. You can choose to be more than a predator. Lyra's red eyes widened slightly. She had not expected such clarity, such confidence. She had not expected a human to speak with such calm, to stare into her eyes without flinching. For the next few days, Alex and Lyra continued this strange dance. At night, she would appear, testing him in small ways, moving objects to see if he flinched, appearing silently in shadows, or showing her predatory abilities without harming him. Each time, Alex reacted calmly, never with fear. And each time, Lyra found herself observing more than attacking. She began to admire his courage, his calm, and his ability to face the unknown. Humans had always seemed fragile, weak, and predictable. But Alex was neither. One evening, as the red sun dipped below the jagged mountains, Alex sat near a small fire outside the colony. Lyra approached slowly, her glowing eyes reflecting in the flames. You are strange, she said softly, almost curiously. You face danger and fear without flinching. You smile at me. When everyone else screams. I am human, Alex said, smiling faintly. Courage is what we do best. We face the unknown, and sometimes, we even smile while doing it. Lyra paused. No human had ever spoken to her like this. No human had ever challenged her understanding of fear and power. And for the first time, she wondered, could humans be more than prey? Could they be equals, even friends? I have watched you for days, she said finally. And I am confused. Why do you not fear me? Alex looked at her steadily. Because I see you. Not just as a predator, but as something more. You are strong. Yes. But you are not only that. You have your own choices, your own story, and I respect that. Lyra's eyes softened slightly. She had not expected a human to understand her, to see past her fangs, past her speed, past her terrifying reputation. She had not expected to feel curiosity. You may survive here, she said finally, not because of strength, but because of something I do not understand. Humans survive because of courage, Alex said. And because we see the value in others, even those who scare us. Lyra tilted her head, her glowing eyes reflecting in the firelight. She did not fully understand him, not yet. But she felt something she had not felt in centuries, an interest in learning more, in watching more, in understanding a species that could face fear and still smile. As the colony slept, Alex and Lyra remained near the fire, separated by a few meters but connected in a strange way. One was a human, small and fragile by comparison, yet fearless. The other was a predator, powerful and feared, yet curious. And for the first time, both realized that this was the beginning of something unusual, something that could change not only their relationship, but the understanding of humans and vampires alike. The night passed with silence, broken only by the soft wind. And in that silence, a bond began to form. One built not on fear, not on dominance, but on respect and courage. Lyra would continue to test Alex, but now, there was admiration mixed with curiosity. And Alex, He knew that his courage had not only saved himself but had begun to plant a seed in the heart of a being who had never known respect or friendship from a human before. For the first time, he felt the truth of what he had always believed. Humans could inspire even the most feared beings, not through strength or violence, but through courage, respect, and the simple act of facing fear with a calm heart and a steady smile. And somewhere in the darkness, Lyra watched him, silently surprised at the human who dared to smile in the face of fear itself.